Hi, this is Benjamin, and we are going to present our ECI 162 project on redesigning Cowell Boulevard. So first off, before we present our redesign, we're going to talk about the agenda, in which we would be talking about the background of the street we would be redesigning, the current status and operations of the street based on our site visit, the goals and improvements that we would like to make on the street, and how that street would look like on the cross-section and intersections. Starting with the background, we would be redesigning Cowell Boulevard from Research Park Drive to Pole Line Road, which is approximately 0.5 miles or 0.8 kilometers. In that corridor, there are four intersections, which are at Research Park Drive, Drew Avenue, Valdora Street, and Pole Line Road. Throughout that corridor, there's also 11 driveways in from the residential areas and commercial areas. And in that corridor, there are also four bus stops, two per direction, in which students and locals usually use from U to travel to UC Davis or to East Davis. And talking about the students, there are many student housing in the residential area in which students often cross the road into the commercial area to access the Kaiser or the Safeway at the plaza. Now, talking about the current status of the street, it is currently a 35 mile per hour road with a two-lane traffic, one per direction, with a center turn lane, with the traffic lane being 17 feet wide and the center turn lane being 12 feet wide. Additionally, there is a parking lane, which is 8 feet wide, and an unprotected bike lane, which is 6 feet wide. Now, talking about the walkability, based on walkscore.com, we found that it achieves a 73 for its being walkable, a score of 41 for its transit system, and a high score of 94 for its bikeability, in which we found some of those points to be agreeable and some of them not, presented by Yuqi.
We did find some defeats in the current road systems, and we will talk about it in the four different perspectives, from pedestrians, cyclists, buses, and cars. And first one, pedestrians. The At the intersection of the Research Parkway, the painted the sidewalk was a little bit faded, and that will possibly make the motor vehicle driver the short distance being impacted, and that will harm the lives of the pedestrians. And along the zero point 0.5 miles of the Research Park Drive, there isn't any actual crossing, and the pedestrian, if they try to cross through this lane, they have to go all the way down to the crosswalk, and that's pretty inconvenient. And also for the motor vehicle driver at the when they try to make a right turn at the Research Park Drive, the huge landscape will definitely obstruct their side distance. So they have to like lower their speed to the bottom, so that has no impact to the pedestrian. And for the cyclist, as we measure, there's 6 feet bike lanes, and on the left side of it was a 35 mile per hour main road, which is the motor vehicle road, and that is pretty huge, uncertain, and through our measurement and the bike level of service was at C, which is not quite pretty good. And also, um, during our table and our calculation, the LTS was calculated to be the larger or equal to 3, and which is disproved what Benjamin just mentioned, the 94 score of the pedestrians. And later for the buses, we point out two bus stops that need quite a bit huge improvements. The one was close to the intersection of the Research Park Drive. You don't have showers or don't have any places to rest. And for another one, it was at the near the intersection of the Zhou avenues. The garbage was everywhere, and no any like public staff was responsible for that, and yeah, quite a mess for that. And finally, for the cars and the vehicle volume at the Research Park Drive was measured at 18,000 vehicles per day. That was pretty massive amount, and also due to the downslope of the um, location of the bridges to the Research Park Drive, um, there's quite a big vehicle was speeding, and that's also one place to be noticed. And also on the both sides of the parking lanes, the some of the heavy vehicle was doing some loading and unloading. Yeah, that's also something to notice about. And also the Nicholas will talk about the new design of the roadway system.
All right. For a look into the future. What needs improvement? Firstly, pedestrian vehicle interaction. Secondly, bus stops. And finally, intersections. So what are our design goals for this project? We want to increase safety on roads and off, provide accessibility for everyone, and accommodate all modes of transportation. What is our plan for transportation circulation? Starting with pedestrians, we would like to introduce a hawk, a high-intensity activated crosswalk, to allow people to cross the road, protected from oncoming traffic, and bridge that large gap without crossings. Hawks also play a role as traffic calming devices, slowing down the speed of motor vehicles. For cyclists, we would like to introduce a one-way protected cycle track that follows all NACTO design guidelines. These include the 8-foot parking lane with a 3-foot buffer and a 6-foot bike-only cycle track. This would also decrease the LTS, level traffic stress, down to 1, which is very good. For the buses, we would like to introduce a cut design that allows buses to park and pick up passengers without impeding oncoming traffic. We will start with the accessible pedestrian crossing that allows people to walk over the cycle track and into the transit shelter, which protects them from the elements. We'd also have bike parking and possibly shared micromobility, such as e-scooters or e-bikes. For cars and trucks, we would like to have a median crossover with left turn bays, replacing the left turn lanes in the middle of the road before. This decreases the speed via vertical deflection and increases greenery into the road rather than a wide open lane. We'd also have a road diet, decreasing the whopping 17-foot wide lane down to a more moderate 12 feet. This also could decrease the speed, but we would also introduce a speed limit decrease from 35 miles per hour down to 30. For the roadway cross sections, this is the original Cowell Boulevard, and this is our redesigned version. Starting with the 6-foot cycle tracks, they would be followed by a transit shelter or parking lanes with a buffer. In the middle, we would have these reduced width drive lanes at 12 feet, and in the middle, a center turn lane or median. And now onto Jonas with the major intersections.
Okay, so now I will be discussing our intersection design. So starting off with our major intersection. Our major intersection is Cowell Boulevard and Research Park Drive. This is the northernmost part of our corridor. It is located adjacent to the on-ramp to the I-80 freeway, which is seen on the far left of this image. As a result of this juxtaposition, cars are traveling really fast coming into this intersection. So we want to introduce some traffic calming measures. There is also no cyclist protection in this intersection. Additionally, this intersection is very large. The longest pedestrian crosswalk on the left is 109 feet, which is simply inaccessible for most people. And there is limited lighting, which presents a safety issue at night and at dusk. So here is our design. So we implemented a protected intersection, which will make this intersection a lot safer and more navigable for cyclists and pedestrians. As a result of this protected intersection, we brought the curbs in. So this will shorten the length of all of the crosswalks. We also implemented tactile boards and lighting. And we finally implemented narrow lanes approaching the intersection to act as traffic calming. So our lanes approaching the intersection go from the original 17 feet width to just 10 feet wide. And now moving on to our minor intersection. So our minor intersection is Cowell and Drew Avenue. This is one very long block south of the Research Park Drive intersection. So looking at the existing intersection, it's a little stronger in its existing condition, the Research Park Drive intersection. However, in the top right corner, we notice a lack of tactile paving. And on this right side, there's no pedestrian crosswalk. Additionally, visibility can be improved through striping. So we decided to add another protected intersection here as the symmetric shape of the intersection makes this design effective. Additionally, we added zebra striping to the crosswalks on all sides to enhance pedestrian visibility. We finished the tactile paving and ensured that it's all aligned in the direction of the crosswalk. And finally, what we believe is the greatest strength of our intersection design is how it flows with adjacent land uses. So we position the bus stop so that it's easily accessible for cyclists and pedestrians who are coming through this intersection. So these are our proposed improvements, and through these improvements, we aim to make Cowell Boulevard a safer place for pedestrians, cyclists, bus takers, and drivers. Thank you for watching.